All right, welcome everybody to the first episode of Hammer the Heck Out of It. This is a golf podcast brought to you by Jacob Ham and Alex Heck. Um, we just wanted to kind of get into our first episode talking about our background on golf and how we kind of came about doing this. Um, I am an assistant golf professional at a course in Indiana, and I played 1 year of college golf, played a bunch of growing up in junior tournaments, and I've always kind of been a golf nerd about golf courses, golf history, PGA Tour golf, all that good stuff. I love diving deep into that. So we just decided to start a podcast and kind of see where it takes us, see who we can get on here, talk about their game of golf and how it's played out in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just happy to be here. I think this was a great idea, something I'm really looking forward to. I think from my perspective, how this all came about was just really just the phone calls that we would kind of have and talk about golf. And, I was always kind of excited to pick your brain. Like you said, your knowledge is very extensive as far as like golf history. Um, Always love to hear week to week, your picks for the various events that are going on. Even the European, the DP World Tour just amazes me, some of the picks that you have. So but yeah, like I said, I always enjoy kind of picking your brain. I think other people will enjoy it too. So yeah, I'm excited to get this out there. And um it's really just going to be a look into kind of like what our phone calls were like, basically, which is kind of unique, kind of
Mm-hmm.
interesting. But yeah, my background, I've played golf basically as long as I can remember. Um and was lucky enough to be part really of a community that was pretty like deeply rooted in golf. Where I grew up in Indiana, and just the middle school golf all the way, obviously high school golf was a big deal. But even down to like the middle school and junior levels, like the programs that we had available to us were really good. And it just built like a culture almost ever since like 2014, maybe even sooner. And it still continues today. Um,
It
and I
showed
think it's
too.
pretty unique too. I think we can talk about this later too, but just the I don't know if importance is the right word, but kind of like high school golf seems to be more relevant, I would say, in the state of Indiana than other states, at least from people that I've spoken to um, through junior golf. It seems like some kids even choose to forego high school golf and play and travel um, to find bigger junior events and that kind of stuff. But the state of Indiana, for whatever reason, the high school golf scene has always been pretty prevalent, I would say. And it was never really a question whether or not you were going to play like high school golf. It was always something that you kind of looked forward to. So yeah, like I mentioned, I was pretty lucky to have a good high school team, and I think that prepared me for college golf. And I'm a junior. I go to a small school called St. Leo University near Tampa. So I get to play year-round golf and always send pictures of Jacob to the wonderful weather that I'm having.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I sit here in southern Indiana and it snows a foot and a half or something. You're out there and it's 65 and sunny. So, but yeah,
yeah,
I mean, we've known each other for a good amount of time now. It's been about 7, 6, 7 years, really. I
we
mean,
we have, yeah.
we
I
became we met each other at that qualifier in at Indiana University's golf course, had an Indiana amateur qualifier. I was playing in it and I got paired with you. And like I was
mhm.
telling you a little bit ago, like I remember whenever you walked up and I was like, okay, this kid's like definitely a couple years younger than me. Like there's somebody you can, because the other kid we played with, I looked at him and I was like, that kid's big, like he's gonna hit it a mile past you, like just be all right with that. I looked at you and I was like, okay, he's gonna hit it about the same length you do, probably, like maybe even a little shorter. Just stay out in front of him. And then
Mhm.
you just kept making pars and pars and pars, and I was fighting for bogeys that day. I remember I was struggling pretty bad. I think I ended up shooting like 82, 83, 84, something like that. I don't know. But
Okay.
you won the qualifier, and I
Yeah.
just felt like I got blitzed that day by you. And then yeah, I mean, we knew each other from that day on. I think I followed you on Instagram or you followed me or something. And then you had that tournament at Sultan's and you were like,
Hmm.
oh, I remember my friend Jacob. He's like the cart guy there. He goes there all the time. And I
Hmm.
came down and I played that practice round with you, kind of let you in on a little bit. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were leading that tournament after like a day or two, weren't you?
I believe so.
It was a
Yeah, I
golf
think I
week
did get to.
event.
I mean, I think I played a few events at Sultan's. Great golf course, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was thinking about this the other night. I think it was summer of 2017 was that qualifier at the IU Bloomington course, which was before the foul was even really an idea, I would say. I don't know when they even decided to kind of reconstruct that. But yeah, that golf course was I don't know how you describe it, but it's definitely interesting because it was a course that I enjoyed playing and like I came to kind of love, but wasn't anything really special. I
It
think I
was extremely quirky. It was a lot of
yeah.
hills, a lot of weird lies, and you kind of just had to know where to hit it around that place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm. Which is interesting. I think I came to like that course really just because I figured out how to get around it, and I think that's kind of an interesting question. There's definitely like golf courses that um are not great, but maybe we personally enjoy them just because we play them well, and that was definitely one of those courses. Um, I
well,
feel
and
like I
it's
was in a
tree
lot of
lined, and
fairways, especially
it's tree
yeah,
lined,
like
and you
doing
don't miss the middle of the fairway, so
yeah,
that
yeah,
helps.
um, but no, yeah, that was a good that was a fun day. I remember that. I remember I don't know if you remember coming up to the tee box or to the first tee that day and we're exchanging scorecards and the other guy's name was Jacob as well and the guy who was caddying for me, my best friend Sam Slaughter, walked up to you and goes, "So are you Jacob or Jacob?"
Yeah,
Which I think
yep.
is like a story I'll never forget, and that was so funny. So,
Yeah, yeah. For those that
um,
don't know, my name is spelled Jaekob. So for my entire life, I have had to tell people, yeah, my name's Jacob, but here I'm going to spell it for you so they have it spelled right because I can't just say, yeah, my name's Jacob, or they'll write the regular spelling. So, yeah,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
thanks, Mom, for that one.
Um, but yeah, no, the more I like think about that and even like because I mean that was really the first year. That was like my freshman year. I had just finished my freshman year of high school and that's when I started kind of playing in like some bigger trying to get into the bigger like state tournaments like stadium, state open, that kind of stuff. And even like the more national and like international junior events. Like the biggest thing that I kind of realized quickly was just like how small the golf community is and like the connections that you can form right away. And like, who would have thought that that day, the two of us meeting, we'd keep in touch and become such close friends. So I think that's one thing that's super unique about the game, and that's what people like myself definitely have come to enjoy. That you can just form these relationships and just like lifelong friends. So,
Yeah. Well, even in
um,
like college, I mean, you end up same events as other schools multiple times a year. So you're seeing the same guys a lot. So, yeah,
mm-hmm,
it's kind of, I
mm-hmm,
mean, and in your national level tournaments, if you play like AJGAs or you play Elite Amateur Series, like still playing with the same guys every single tournament because they're all qualified for those bigger tournaments for those
mm-hmm.
kids too. So yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy to see just too how many people have taken up the game over the last like I mean 5 years I can confidently say. And I mean from your perspective, like working at a golf course, do you like would you attribute some of that to what happened in 2020, like with COVID and with us being kind of locked down, and golf was like an escape for a lot of people to be able to get outside safely and to still be able to play? I mean, from your perspective, like how did you I mean how did that all influence just like the
yeah,
number of people who have taken up the game?
yeah. I mean, I started off my first job in golf was being a cart barn worker. So like I basically saw everyone who came to the course at Sultan's Run. That was my first job. So I mean, it was always pretty busy, but like I've heard from people that are still at that course that it's triple. Like it's just the amount of play they get. I know the head pro really well. He's a family friend, and he says the amount of play they get is insane. And I
Mhm.
know from my perspective, I mean, we're always busy. If the weather's good, uh, you're busy. The mornings are flooded with people. You got to get there early to get the carts out for them and open up the shop. But it's a constant inflow, it seems like, of people. And every time I'm work, pretty much, I look outside and there's someone new on the driving range. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think that a lot of people have just gotten into it. And a lot of them were athletes who played other sports, so they're already
Mhm.
athletic, so they get good pretty quick at the game. So
I was gonna comment on that too, actually. Like a lot of my friends, um, who went on to play like Division I sports, whether in like baseball, football, have taken up golf, and like I just am always curious, like kind of why. Like I don't know exactly what to attribute it to, but it just seems like there's been like a spike in that over the last maybe 5 to 10 years. And like you mentioned, courses are just busier and busier. And I mean, from my perspective, living in Indiana through the busy summer months, I see how busy it is up there. But then when I first came down here and lived, started living in Florida through what you'd call the winter months, but obviously the weather's still great to be able to play down here. Just how busy it is, and it just doesn't stop. Like it does not shut down. Um, and courses are just busier and busier. And I mean, they're able to charge, I feel like fees have gone up and people are paying it to play, public courses that are nothing special. People just love it for whatever reason. So it's
mhm.
good to see though, for the game and for the
Yeah,
business side of things.
yeah.
Um,
I have a friend at
um,
Florida Gulf Coast, and he says that yeah, like you can't get a tee time. Like
mhm,
if you don't book it days in advance, you're gonna have trouble. So
mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, he says it's not like that in the summer, or not like that in August whenever he first started going to school there. Like this year, he could get a tee time, but the winter months, he said especially, are pretty bad.
They are, yeah. I mean, I guess it would have to just be attributed to like the people that live 6 months out of the year in the
Mm-hmm.
north, and then they come down. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I mean, this time of year's it's like heaven down here for golf. I mean, the humidity's low. Um, Usually the courses are in great shape because it's not as hot. They're not just getting baked out there in the sun. Um, so yeah, I mean, it really is. It's just it's crazy though to see. Really is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Um, I think if you're ready, we can dive into our segment we're going to do for today's episode, and we're going to cover the four majors that the PGA Tour, and live golfers will be playing in this year,
yeah.
and we're going to cover those and make our predictions for who we think is going to win what major. Um, Kick it off. Everybody usually, if they're listening to this podcast, they probably know the first major is going to be the Masters. It's April 6th through the 9th this year and ends on Easter Sunday. Um, every year, that tournament obviously is at Augusta National. This is the 87th edition of it. Um, I don't know about you, but every time I watch the Masters, it seems like the guys with the most course knowledge, you have to be in form for sure, playing well, but the guys with the most course knowledge always seem to make their way to the top there.
Hmm.
Um, and a little weird tidbit, and then I'll give my prediction on who I think is going to win this year's Masters tournament, is 2021 Easter Sunday. It was the Valero Texas Open, which was won by Jordan Spieth. And then the 2022 Easter Sunday was RBC Heritage, which was also won by Jordan Spieth. So I think Jordan Spieth's got something on Easter Sunday, and I think this year, I think he might get that green jacket back, and he's gone through all the struggles. He's gone through the weird wind up thing he does. Um, but I think he's going to have it figured out for April, and I think he's going to be ready. So I'm going with Jordan Spieth for
Hmm.
my Masters champion this year.
Hmm. That's interesting, actually, that you bring him up because just looking down my list here, the four majors, I wanted to have him in. I mean, I guess as a spoiler, I don't have him on any of them, but um, I mean, definitely somebody that has performed well there before. I mean, I would love to see him win again. I actually just saw he committed to to play in the Valspar, which I don't know that he's played in that at least last year, but which is that's middle end of March, so that'll be kind of a good look at where
Mm-hmm.
his game's at on a pretty good golf course. But Um, my pick for the Masters, which I really thought we were going to have some overlap here, and you can share about this too, but my pick is Rory. Um, I just think he gets the Grand Slam. I think it's going to be like really cool for the game of golf to start the kind of the major season that way. Um, Obviously he was runner up last year. Um, and I just think, yeah, I think he's going to go into it with a lot of momentum. I think he's going to play good. The only thing that makes me nervous about this was that his last major was won in 2014, which kind of surprised me. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he can pick off another one here this year. Whether, I mean, I hope it's the Masters, but whether it's any of the other three, would be cool to see him back. Winning a big tournament.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Anybody who knows me knows I love Rory McIlroy. That's my favorite golfer. I went to the Memorial last year in Columbus. Um, Followed him the whole time. I mean, I like Rory a lot, and I have picked him probably the last 4 or 5 Masters. I've made him my official pick to win the Masters, and he obviously hasn't got it done. He's been close a few times. Um, Last year that Sunday was unreal. What he shoot like 62, 63, something
yeah,
like
I
that.
remember he just came charging. Yeah, he
Something
was.
crazy, and I'm not picking him this year. Maybe I'm the bad juju. Maybe if I don't pick him, he goes out there and he has a good first round and puts himself in a position to win because I think if he gets off to a good start on Thursday, he's going to be tough to fend off. Because
I
I
think
mean,
it. Yeah, I think it just depends on how he putts too, really, because it
yeah,
seems like he's come to figure that out here in the last year, and it's like, I mean, obviously, it's shown for him. So I think if he can figure out those greens, he's gonna obviously be up there at least in the top 10, top 5. But
yeah. I mean, he had the one year, I forget what year, maybe 2011 it was, where he had the lead and then he just melted down on the back nine. I think he knows that. Everybody knows that. He just choked. It wasn't like a bad break here or there. He just hit some bad golf shots and I think he's come to realize like, yeah, you did that, but I think he's like comfortable now with going to the Masters. It's not like he's chasing the Grand Slam anymore, which he still is, but um yeah, I think he's just comfortable with showing up, going through his routine, and seeing what happens, and it's showed because he's had some really good finishes.
mhm.
Um, but now we'll move on to the PGA Championship. This is going to be May 8th through the 11th. It is going to be at Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester, New York. Um, Oak Hill has hosted 3 U.S. Opens and 3 PGA Championships, and the last time it hosted PGA Championship was 2013, won by Jason Duffner. Um, I'm actually going to go with a New York guy here. I think he's going to go back home and he's going to take care of it. I think he's a big game hunter. He's played really well in majors in his young career, and I'm going to go with Cameron Young to win the PGA Championship.
I do like that pick. For me, this is kind of an interesting one. And you might laugh, but I'm gonna just pick Justin Thomas to repeat. Um, for whatever reason, I think, I think he plays well at these like old country clubs and I don't know, for whatever reason, I just think he's gonna repeat. And the last repeat champion wasn't that long ago with Koepka in 2018 and 19. But I just feel like JT is always pretty relevant in these big tournaments, so he's my pick.
Yeah.
Um,
Next, after that, they'll move to the U.S. Open, and that is in L.A. at Los Angeles Country Club this year. That's going to be June 15th through the 18th. Um, it's a George Thomas design. It was redone by Gil Hance in 2010, I believe. I don't actually know too much about this course. I know it hosted a USAM not that long ago. I think 2015, 16. I'm not sure on the exact year there, but I remember when it was there. Um, I just assume they're going to set it up like an old school country club U.S. Open, like they did Winged Foot, where they grow the rough up, make it hard to hit fairways, and if you don't, you're going to be penalized. Um, but I went with Scotty Scheffler. I think Scotty Scheffler has the game for U.S. Open. He's going to be hard to get him to ruffle his feathers and kind of crumble at a U.S. Open, make double bogeys, triple bogeys. He doesn't do that. He just makes pars and a lot of birdies. So I'm gonna go with Scotty Scheffler. I think he gets the U.S. Open this year, and then he's gonna be chasing that PGA and the Open for his Grand Slam.
Okay, and I'm picking Xander to break through and get his first major. And I was pretty torn just looking between Morikawa and Xander, but really I think what did it, maybe this is bad for me to say, but just watching how Morikawa kind of closed there in Hawaii, which I don't know if it was really a close or more so John Rahm just come tumbling back, but yeah, my pick is Xander to break through and get his first major win.
I like that. He's from California, that's going to feel like home a little bit. The
Mm-hmm.
other person I did consider there was Max Homa, just because it's LA.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
from LA. He won the Genesis out there. So I considered Max Homa, but I think he's got the game for majors, and I think he believes he does, but
Mhm.
his major resume is not the greatest quite yet. So he's still got a little bit to build that up. Then we moved to the Open and Royal Liverpool. It's funny that Rory hasn't won one since 2014 because that was his 2014 major. His last major was at the Open and Royal Liverpool. It's hosted. This is going to be the 13th time Liverpool. It's hard to say has hosted the Open. It's also hosted 18 amateur championships, which are the R&A's, basically US Am. That's their national championship for amateurs. It's hosted that 18 different times. It's hosted the Walker Cup twice in 1983 and recently in 2019. So, I mean, Rory won here. You look back at that leaderboard, it was stacked with guys that hit it a long way. I mean, Rory, Adam Scott, he could move it back then. Sergio still hits it far, but he hit it a mile. Dustin Johnson played well that week. Koepka was near the lead after the first round. So I'm gonna go with a guy that hits it a mile and he doesn't really miss fairways, and I'm gonna go with John Rahm here. I think John Rahm's gonna go over to Royal Liverpool and he's gonna get it done. He's gonna get his second major too, and then he's gonna be chasing his green jacket and PGA Championship to get his Grand Slam too. But I think I couldn't go all year without having John Rahm win a major. I think he's got.
I mean, truthfully, after hearing that too, and you talk about the driving distance, now I'm much more confident in my pick, which is Victor Hovland. And I just doing the research, like it surprised me that he only has one top 10 in the majors, and that was last year's Open too, which kind of led me to think maybe being over in Europe, he's going to be able to grab his first major. But I could be convinced that Rahm as well is going to be up there near the top. Wouldn't be surprised to see these two guys battling it out come that final day. But
I think Hovland with his short game struggles that people have made note of, the Open would be the major that he's going to win because you can putt it from off the
mm-hmm.
green pretty easily at like pretty much every single course on the Open Rota. So
Mm-hmm.
I think and last year they said that's why he did so well was he's actually a really good putter. His just chipping out of the bunker game is where he kind of struggles, but yeah, I think Victor Hovland's a great pick because those Open courses they
Thank
have
you.
the wide fairways. I think he could go out there and win it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So that wraps up our four. I had Spieth, Cameron Young, Scotty Scheffler, and John Rahm. And you had
I have Rory, and then I have JT to repeat. I have Xander, and then I have Victor Hovland.
So we've got all different ones. I thought we could have had a couple that were similar, but yeah,
mm-hmm.
I considered JT to repeat again. So we got different ones. We'll see who gets if any of us get any of them right. It's gonna be kind of tough, picking one guy for a golf tournament, but
yeah, I feel like I've definitely got safe picks here. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody who we really don't expect breaks through, and then can discuss that. But
all right. Well, that's our first episode. Stay tuned because our next couple episodes are going to feature some pretty awesome guests, a couple in the game of golf and one who plays golf, but he is an amazing athlete as well. It's going to be awesome to talk to them, pick their brain a little bit, see where they're at. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. And hopefully we catch you again next weekend whenever we record our second episode. So peace out.